My name is Mary Beck. I am an emeritus professor of clinical law at the University of Missouri. I have been directing the family violence program here at MU Law for 25 years. It includes 2 courses in which students enroll. In the seminar, students write papers for publication and have published over 60 of those papers advancing issues related to abuse victims. In the clinic, Rule 13 certified law students represent actual indigent persons under my supervision in courtrooms across 46 counties in the state of Missouri.
I went to law school to help out those who need it, and this clinic serves such a group of people, very, very poor people who need this kind of help.
I'm seeking guardianship for my grandson and my guardian, Jay Sean Bourne.
Mary Warren is a 60-something woman with terminal stage 4 breast cancer. She is also the guardian of her grandson, and her doctors began telling her that she doesn't have much time left and she needs to make arrangements for him.
At an early age, he was taken from pillar to post. And so when I was given guardianship of it, I promised him 10 years. And then I wanted to make my daughter his co-guardian. So if anything happened to me due to my health or anything, that he would be taken care of properly.
Mary is an elderly woman with no means whatsoever. So for her to get her day in court in this really unusual hearing and to be able to permanently provide for her grandson, it was very emotional. She was choked up, her daughter was choked up, the judge was congratulating them. There was great excitement in the courtroom. Marcia was appointed co-guardian, so now this grandchild has his aunt and his grandmother as his guardians. Should her terminal cancer take her life, the aunt will seamlessly take over.
The clinic helps people that are indigent afford attorneys, and when it's not like a criminal matter or a really necessary kind of civil matter, the court won't appoint anybody. So without us, they would not have an avenue of help.
Thank you very much, very much. And if I'm allowed to, I could recommend the services to those that need it, that I know.
I think the Family Violence Clinic enjoys a national reputation. We do cases internationally. We certainly do interstate cases. It's really a high visibility clinic where students advance solutions under the law. And I think it does every alumni proud that this clinic operates the way it does, with such dedicated students and such hard luck clients.
Well, personally, I chose to work in the Family Violence Clinic because I wanted to make an impact in someone's lives who really needed it. I worked on an amicus petition for certiorari for the United States Supreme Court.
Being able to publish your work as a student, it does allow you to contribute to a larger body of legal scholarship.
An amicus brief is essentially briefs that go in support of one of the parties, so they're not affiliated directly on behalf of one of the parties, the plaintiff or the defendant, but oftentimes they can be a make it or break it situation when the court is deciding whether to hear a case or not because it has full discretion to do so. So the fact that we wrote this could have been really powerful. If the court was on the fence about hearing the case, they would read this amicus brief and they would see kind of an outsider's perspective, a third-party perspective.
There's not a class on the areas of law we were working with, so it was an opportunity to really dive into an area of law we probably wouldn't have learned about in law school.
I actually decided to go to the University of Missouri School of Law because I am so passionate about domestic violence, and they have such a great family violence clinic.
What led me to the clinic was I was in a position where I had to leave my husband.
Christy's case was a case of domestic violence where she was fleeing because her husband had threatened to shoot her and her girls and her sister, and she was fleeing for her life.
Christy experienced abuse for many years at the hands of her husband.
With the children, he would threaten me with I wouldn't get any custody. He would have full custody. I'd never see my children. I wouldn't get to raise my children.
Altercations in the shower where he would, push her down or hit her head against the shower.
He had firearms. He had shot the firearm previously through our bedroom wall into the children's bedroom.
Years and years she told us that she had to endure that.
I feared my husband because his behavior was escalating over the past month. He's just a scary person, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to leave and that I had somebody to help me leave him.
We met with her the day after she left. It took probably 6 hours to allow her to tell us the full story with all of the details. And then we drafted the orders of protection for her and her children, got those filed.
That was a case of domestic violence that was difficult to resolve because her husband was so manipulative, using the police department to track her down, trying to issue Amber Alerts, missing person alerts, trying to find her. And I feared that if he found her, he was going to shoot her.
The hearing date was in St. Charles County. And when we went there, we honestly didn't know what to expect. We were fully prepared to go to a contested hearing. But when we got there, we met with his attorney and we met with our client. And that prompted us into trying to figure out an agreement without having to go to a contested hearing.
We negotiated with opposing counsel. I think we came to a really great conclusion for everyone involved.
People should be excited about donating to the Family Violence Clinic because they really stand behind people that in the moment have nothing. I had absolutely the clothes on my back, I had absolutely nothing. And it gives you somebody there to help you get something for yourself, when you have nothing at all.
We are the law office of last resort for a number of our clients.
And in these cases, the victims are always very scared to go to court, and they typically always turn around once they get there if they don't have any support. That's when they just dismiss their case because they don't have any other option. They don't know we provide other options for them like shelters or even action plans for the future, whether to go back to school or get a job. We'll kind of help them go through those routes if they let us.
When I was 18, I committed a crime. I shot my father, who was sexually abusive. I took it to trial, was found guilty, was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and entered prison.
Stacey's situation is altogether different. She was a clemency client initially.
Clemency is this little special carved out exception that gives the governor the power to make a difference in a person's life. There are things that can happen in the legal world that might be correct legally, but that aren't correct morally. And clemency can step in and make a difference when all other legal avenues are closed. But students through the Family Violence Clinic still stayed with my case and stayed with my case even after they graduated. I did wind up getting clemency in 2009. Once I came home, I finished up my bachelor's degree and then didn't know what I was going to do with my life and thought, well, let's see if they'll let me into law school. So I took the LSAT and they did. And when I really thought about it, I thought, I want to go learn from the people who taught the people who helped me and who had this open mind thinking that it's not necessarily what a person did, it's more about the overall legal system, and it can sometimes be about justice.
So she participated in this clinic. She published an amazing paper on sexual offenders.
But after being in the clinic and representing my first client and helping get someone the help that they needed through the legal system, I knew that that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I'm grateful for who I am today and for all those little pieces of the puzzle that helped make me who I am. And the Family Violence Clinic was a part of that. And that's really why I wanted to come to Mizzou. It teaches students to have an open mind And it also teaches students to advocate for people who cannot advocate for themselves.
Really helps people get practical experience, and I truly think that everyone that has gone through the clinic will be a better lawyer in the future, whether or not they continue to do family violence work.
I think it's because clinic is one of those things where you directly see the payoff immediately. You know, you see the payoffs not just when we win our court cases, which we often do, but you see it when lawyers enter from leave Mizzou law, enter the legal field, and have an idea of what they're doing, you know, how to file these motions, how to do a civil protective order. And so you have higher quality lawyers coming from Mizzou, which only helps its reputation.
I think the legal community should be excited about financially supporting the clinic because you're investing in the future of the legal community.
So it is a privilege to be able to serve people who have no means, could never afford this kind of legal assistance, and to do something really worthwhile for people who have been victimized or are unfortunate, marginalized by society. It's just a privilege.